Alright, welcome to do a bit of a video of the Steam Controller 2026 there we go, edition. They're using this since maybe 2 weeks, something like that, right? I don't know exactly, but a few weeks here. And yes, we're gonna have like go through maybe a few simple games, but it's mostly just gonna be just talking a little bit. So one of my favorite FPS genres is definitely FPS. I have definitely gravitated to a lot of 2D Metroidvanias. Right. So this is pretty far into Doom 2016. I have every weapon except for the BFG, and let me oh, you can't see my overlay. That is very unfortunate. Let me double check that. Change that. Blah blah blah. It is supposed to be able to capture, but for some reason it will not. Let me try something else. That's the right position. This, and let's try this. Go. And now you can see. So this is kind of my setup here real quickly. You can get a peek at it. Do this. Right joystick. Right pass joystick. Let me do. Right. So mouse and keyboard, and when I press the tab or select button, it changes. Because I feel there is one reason, right? This is unfortunately the thing here. This is not a Steam controller problem. This is just a game developer problem. So this game, Doom 2016, has great mixed input support, meaning you can pretty much set up this with mouse, gyro, and like everything, mix analog stick movement, jump around, whatever you want to do. But as soon as the game detects a gamepad input here, I think this is a good starting point to highlight some limitations of Steam controller, right? And this is the thing. If I want to swap, I have a bit of runes here. I'm using my mouse here, right? And I want to change this. But as you can see, I cannot change anything. The game detects that I have some kind of gamepad. So the only way for me, since the Steam controller here triggers gamepad to be detected by this game, now I have to have, only for this part, I have to have joystick mode. So I can do this with the left joystick. Otherwise, I cannot swap runes. And this is a game problem. Obviously, this is not a Steam controller problem. This is game developers not supporting proper 100% mixed input. And the best way to support mixed input is for developers to have automatic, so the game will swap depending on what is the text. And then forced mouse and keyboard for button prompts and everything like that, or force gamepad. And it could also be another thing that might need to happen is that they need to have a mixed mode where they make sure that everything works with both inputs, like this one. Because this breaks when it detects any gamepad. So right. There is also another thing here. For some reason here in the map you use the right stick to look around. And if we go in here and here we have the gamepad, we have the right stick. This is the right. Oh, wait a minute, that's weird. Definitely have it bind earlier. I guess this is the beta branch, and this is very unfortunate. Sometimes things that you map just disappears. And I don't know why. And especially when you're using action sets, up in the top left corner it says map. Very often it for no reason, when I'm changing action set map things, it will just suddenly be this action set. So I've actually, when I did set this control configuration up, it just, wait, what's happening? And suddenly I was in the wrong. So you need to be very careful, at least for now in the beta branch. Between everything that you do like this, double check that it says your correct action set. All right, so hopefully this will work then. Oh, here you can see it. It swapped again to the wrong action set. I was about to do something here, and it's from map to action sets here, right? So, trackpads. I don't need this one. Go. This is just a safety thing here, because sometimes the action sets swapping thing bugs out, so I can just press on the left pad if I want to force a swap to my mouse and keyboard thing. So that is pretty much, if I were to, now I'm just in the map, and that's not what I want. I don't want to use gamepad here, so I just press and it forces that. Now I did notice another problem here, starting to bug me out really. So here we have again, we are in the map, and you can see here joystick. This is set to be a joystick. The left is set to be a joystick. This is set to be, it is the right joystick. Everything is just default here. And if we say check this one, you can see it is the left joystick, everything default. So if I do this again, the right stick is not working. I do this, the right stick is now working, right? Very cool, the right stick is working. I can look around here. So if I go into the map, I'm supposed to be able to rotate the map with the right joystick. But for some reason it's not working. So you have to use the mouse, right? This is the game problem. It is not, nothing to do with the Steam controller, but that is why I had done this thing. Went to the right trackpad and I set this one as mouse. And then we back out. Now I can use the right touchpad just to look around, and the left to move. And I can then go in here and I can change runes. But this is a big problem, right? If you pick one of these one up, this is the strength and the weakness of the Steam controller, and I wanted to highlight that. You are going to run into a problem if you only use the Steam controller without gyro, or with maybe gyro as joystick. This I'm using as mouse. That is like keyboard mouse input, gyro to mouse. But if you like it and use only gyro to joystick camera, with just the ABXY, the D-pad, and the sticks here, it's going to be plug and play feeling, right? As long as the game is a Steam game and it's doesn't have any problem with input. But if you really want to take and utilize the gamepad to its full with its mouse, gyro, and other stuff, you might go into a lot of interesting little things happening that you need to be aware of. And even now it is in beta, getting lots of updates, it's going to be a little bit even more buggy than ever. So I have, gyro here on the right trackpad, and let's highlight another problem here with this controller for me. When I used the OG Steam controller, they had bigger circular trackpads, and I cannot get the same ergonomic feeling with it. The trackpad is super smooth, it feels super nice, the textures and everything, and I love the click feeling here when I press it. The haptic click, much better than the OG. But this is so tiny and it sits in the wrong place and the wrong angle. So I have a little bit of a problem hitting all of the kind of, I'm using a mode shift here, which is very common here, to make it a directional pad, and I swap weapons. When I click down, up, left, down, left, up, right. But since this is a smaller trackpad and the placement of them, I cannot use like in the original Steam controller where I had a click in the middle, outer ring binding invert, and I use that for like melee and stuff, because it is so small, and I'm maybe you can't tell it, but my natural position is more on the right side. So if I'm clicking in the middle here, it's just difficult to do, and that's also another problem. I used to love the big pads, and I kind of just swiped, and I had, let me showcase it. Trackpad, that's another bug here. I have to go in and out of the layout to edit. I don't know why, it freezes otherwise. Lots of bugs, unfortunately. So if you haven't gotten yours, there's good news. You will get a more stable, polished software experience. Obviously, it's bad that you have to wait, but to see a little bit of a good from the bad. So I used to love on the original one, I love to have trackball mode on. This was really nice because I could just swipe like this. The problem I've encountered is, since I am on the right leg, right side, they might have fixed it, but many times I kind of like hit the edges here and it just went flying the other way, the camera. So I'm in the action, I'm just swiping. No, I want to go, and it just flicked the wrong way. So for now, I had to the size of this, I had to turn it off, because the size and the position here is not as good as the original one, unfortunately. Another problem I also have is that I wanted to just, why not have a weapon wheel when I touch my right stick? That's nice, work cool. The problem is that when I was going here and I was going to like the A or X button, I often hit the side, accidentally triggering the weapon wheel, causing problems. So I had to abandon that idea. And that is another big, like not a big, but that's another downside from the original controller. The distance from the ABXY is very long, so it's very unnatural for me to like hit this. Obviously, I'm going to build muscle memory. It's going to get better, but it's not as good. Right now, when I was trying here, I could feel myself hitting the right stick. So that means I cannot have any touch binding on the right stick, because that will mess up. So even though the Steam controller have more bindings with grip senses, they had the trackpad here, they had the touch sensitive joysticks, and it has 2 joystick, 2 touchpad, and the D-pad. It's not really giving me that many more inputs compared to the original one, because the placement here is not as smooth, and it's very easy to hit the stick accidentally when I'm moving. Also, the placement of the select and start are also a bit weird. I can't really get them fast. Again, muscle memory will build, so it will get better, but they are still not that good. It felt better on the original one. So this is like the biggest thing that just has popped out to me, and I want to like talk about my experience and show them a little bit in this video. Because again, this is really a great tool to having this one, right? To be able, if you don't want to use the Steam input, you are going to pretty much not utilize the full extent of the Steam controller. And I get it, this is a lot of option and a lot of tinkering, but you will not get the most out of it. And you do have layouts. So I have one for Doom Eternal, the Hulk edition there. I might upload one for this game if you want to try this one yourself. See, if I have maybe some ideas that you like or don't like. But I do think I need to highlight a few other issues, right? So again, when I press select, or the tab kind of button here, that one, It switches action layer. It has a nice little beep, subtle beep, and everything. And I have fixed this right with the right joystick not working for some reason. There is one problem though, and that is that if you press B, now you're going to be stuck, right? Now you are in gamepad mode. That's why you had to press A to force it to go back to mouse and keyboard, snappy gyro and everything. But you could just say, hey, why don't you do like you have done with this one, that when you click it, it swaps, and then you click it again, it swaps back. That would be really intuitive, right? Well, let me show you why. So if I want to go in, let's say I want to do something here. Now I press B. That doesn't close the menu. So if I had swap action layers on B, this would be your problem whenever you back out of a menu within the menu here. I can't do it that way. But that means that accidentally sometimes you might be stuck with the gamepad mode that you don't want. That's why I have to have this one to force to swap it. And that is also why I've been a little bit on the fence of uploading this this config, because maybe not everyone is going to, you know, understand this problem. It could cause some negativity, like why are you this and that and stuff like that. But maybe since, you know, I have this video here talking about it, maybe I can upload it and you guys can try own decision. So let me go through a few other things here. So now we're getting to the positive things, the back buttons. They are amazing. They feel definitely better than the OG. All of the buttons, all the stick, everything feels better. The plastic feels nicer, looks nicer than the original one. I have not a problem with the plastic build quality, but it is nicer. This kind of matte finish is nicer looking. It feels a bit nicer, just the polished look of this one, right? And the buttons here, the ABXY are like pretty much the same. The select to start, yeah, the same. The D-pad is okay, you know, I think it's a decent one. It's not the best one, but it's a good working one. Definitely this one, it feels really nice. The gyro, I think it feels really nice, and the touch sensitive works great. The TMR sticks are really nice. But the back buttons also less clicky overall than the original one. The triggers has a nice little soft touch to them. Not as long, but they are really nice. The weapon here to swapping here on the bumpers also have a nice, less clunky feeling to them. So it's overall is good. And again, the back buttons have been really, really something that has been a huge improvement for me. So on the back buttons here on the right side, I have jump, the top, and I have crouch on the bottom one. And then I have a melee, and I also has set use to be the same thing. So you melee and you use at your same button. This is something that could be built in by the Doom 2016 engine, but this works amazing. And then I also have on the bottom one here, left bottom, I can just throw a grenade. And if I also hold down the melee and open button here, the top left one, it swaps to the chainsaw. And those has been really, really great. It definitely is muscle memory needs to build, but it has been over just a couple of weeks here, it has been really starting to get smooth. No accidentally clicking or anything like that. So here we can see the bottom here is crouch. And I have set it to be start and release press, because in the game this is a toggle action and I want it to be hold action. Sometimes this bugs out, right, and it ends up within a force crouch situation, but you only have to press the jump button to get out of it. So it works really, really, really well. And again here, we can see here, this is the melee and the use key is the same. Action on the back buttons here works amazingly great. No issues. Should have been in the game as an option. And then, you know, you have the long press, right, to make it swap to the chainsaw. This is just a normal grenade button tossing. And And here we can see the kind of the left bumper are just two of the basic shotgun and assault rifle. The other one is the plasma, and if I hold down here, you know, you get the BFG. And then I have on the right touchpad, right trackpad, with the mode shift here, we have the most important weapons to quickly swap up, down, left, right, clicking, right, which works amazing. And also, one of the downside that I didn't mention, the smaller trackpad and the position has made that I cannot use the trackpad to look vertically. I can only use it for horizontal, because I tried vertical and I did actually tweak. Let's find it. The hell, trackpad. Right, this one. I tried to tweak this. I think this is like my setting that works the best. But if I use this to look up and right and down, let me see if I can showcase that too. Right, here we have. Showing is the best way to explain it. So normally I have my finger controller, I swipe left and right, and then I swipe also up and down to kind of quickly get my aim where I want to go. Now, if I swipe holding this as relaxed as I can, you can see my position here is just not that good. And it's very easy when I start moving quickly. You see it just starts moving up and down. And it's not consistent, so I can't use the angle calibration. It just does not go good at all. On my Steam controller, OG1, it was very minor movement, but it was always kind of this. It might have maybe a little bit, you know, up, a little bit down, but it's more like this. But on this one, it just jumps very much, and I have to like angle and force it back up, because the position and the size of the trackpad is just not good for this type of movement compared to the original. So my solution were just, hey, I'm gonna have to ditch vertical, you know, touchpad movement and just use gyro movement. It's going to take some getting used to, because many times I still just wanna like use this motion, and it kind of, you know, when it doesn't work, it's causes a tiny amount of uncomfortable feeling now and then, right? But this is good. It works perfectly fine, but it just is not as good. It really isn't. And, you know, I wanted to again to just show and discuss these things here. And again, showing is probably the best way. It has been found. Oh, this is the secret. And so one thing I do want to mention is I don't prefer to using the left trackpad for movement, which you can do. But I do feel that the smaller size and just the better kind of response, you know, as like the feeling, not better response, just a better feeling of the touchpad kind of material and everything. I think it would actually benefit if I wanted to use this for movement. I think it would work pretty good, and I think it would work better than on the original larger pads, actually. If you like dual thumbstick, I think the smaller left pad for movement is actually something that could work better. So if we do directional pad, right? Just again, I think showing is the best way to just go about this. And I think, there we go, reducing this one be better, having a little bit of a smaller dead zone. And you can also use, we can check that one out in a second. Oh, I have a click fired on. I have to do this. I have to do this. You have to go here. There we go. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I definitely can, you know, see this one working quite good. You can get used to it. Let me see. Haptic override, medium. Yeah, there we go. Again, it is very usable and it's going to give you some little nice tweakability. Again, I'm bad at this since I just prefer, I prefer just a stick for me here. Oh, but let's try another thing is you can use it also, you don't have to use like a D-pad, right? You can use it as just the normal joystick mode. Oh, I'm at the C. So that might work better for you and give you some nice cool run with. So you can go here and you can as joystick, right? Oh, wait a minute. I just want to verify. So here you have, and you can turn this one on. So whenever you lift your thumb and then press down again, that will be the center of your joystick. Of good thing here to tweak, right? So it does seem it lost a little bit of of lost track of where I was. So let's turn that one off. This is going to work better like this. But this is definitely very playable. Okay, remember where the, oh right, is it this way? So you can definitely learn and you can get good playing like this, right? That's going to give you some nice little upgrade. Oh yeah. So I can definitely see why people do enjoy this because it feels very smooth to be going around like this. And definitely, you know, you can definitely learn to do this. But I also really like the feel of the joystick, so I don't feel inclined to learn it since I have a very working good experience in a different setup. But it is really good, and I definitely feel that the smaller trackpad works better for me for just that type of movement. Maybe you prefer the bigger ones, but yeah, I think it is really great here. Right, and we have to do the dun. Oh no, the wrong one. Yeah, that should be good. Don't need that pad. Very good control here. Very nice. Everything's like, this game is very playable from start to finish, I feel, with this configuration. I played this game like multiple times, and with the original Steam controller, this is ultra violence difficulty, you know, no problem getting up there. Haven't struggled, died of course in some ballerinas, but yeah, it's just been working really great. Is there something hidden little, maybe I'm remembering wrong? So FPS games definitely works great with this controller, but there are some aspects that just were better on the original. And again, I see if you just love normal gamepad layout and you just really hate touchpad, you just don't want to try to learn them, you don't want to interact with them for more than some maybe like basic window management, you're going to like this new layout. But if you are a fan of the original with the focus on the trackpads, you might get a less of a great experience. You might have to build some new muscle memory. You might, like me, have to do some new tweak. Like you can't maybe use vertical aiming on the touchpad. You might not be able to use invert the ring binding to get 5 inputs, and some minor things like that. And you might not be able to use ABXY in as smoothly as the original one, and you might have accidentally touched that is like the right stick, so might not be able to use binding on that one. But it is a very good controller, very good to be able to like play lots of good games and tweak lots of things. And I think we're supposed to interact with something, but I think we should maybe just, there we go, maybe swap quickly to another game, just quickly go through that and try maybe some 2D games to see how the D-pad works. But yeah, the back buttons have been absolutely great. I don't know what you fingers you call it in English, but I'm holding it with like these 2 fingers. I'm not using the pinky, or is it the pointing, or using the kind of the 2 middle on each button, and it works really great to build up some muscle memory. Oh, he's still talking. I don't have any audio here because audio on for me or you. I just want to focus on the speaking here, which might be a little bit boring for you, some of you, but I think this was the best way that I could just quickly and nicely showcase and discuss the kind of things that has popped out to me as an OG Steam controller user during these weeks. Do I like this? Yes, I do. Is it the thing that I really, wanted as a crazy upgrade? Maybe not. Doesn't mean it's bad or anything. Yeah, and I feel, I have very good control here of the aiming, the shooting. Running around. Again, this is ultra violence. Oh, I don't have any audio, so I couldn't hear him there. So let's swap quickly to maybe to just another FPS game here, and to see how that goes. And then we could maybe check out some 2D game, or maybe some emulator, and talk about that thing, right? So let's do exit here. Get a nice big picture here of the Steam controller. Right, so I might upload my Doom 2016 edition here. I'm gonna do that then if I remember the configuration. I can do that after. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it right now. Let me see if I can do that. So you can try and play around with that configuration if you want to do that. Just waiting for. Let me try. Let me go with Doom 2016 and manage controller layout. Go. And let me go in. You can't see this, so you're gonna have to trust me. I'm gonna try to quickly just export this one. Button export layout. So I'm gonna name this Doom 10 Hulk Edition version 101. I don't think we need to be. I'm not gonna type in like a ton of description, but because I don't think people read them. So I'm just gonna be description: keyboard, mouse with gyro, and action layers for map, map, or map. There we go. Keyboard mouse description. Keyboard mouse with gyro and action layers for map. Doom 2016 Hulk Edition version 101. And we are going to do new shareable personal save. Port. So now you should be able to find this and try this one yourself. I'm gonna do the one. So it's actually Doom Hulk Edition version 101 because I used the wrong export. So I have shared my layout with the community. Doom Hulk Edition version 101, keyboard mouse with gyro and action layer, I guess, action layer for map, so you can find it. I'm just gonna do one more save, new template. Gray, oops. And let's get the other game. And let's see if I can. Do I have to? Okay. Right, something happened with my save. So we're gonna just quickly check another FPS game out that has a little bit of different kind of movement things, right? I'm not gonna be sharing that config because I am not confident that that is the optimal one for the entire game. So I'm going to share the screen here. I'm just gonna make sure it's working, that I'm getting into the game. Yes. Let me tab out. There we go. Right. So here we have Luna Abyss, another FPS game. Let me quickly just show you here. You can see it's pretty much the basic thing here. You know, left joystick, right trackpad, mode shift, the same horizontal swiping, no as scroll, you know, just the basic like the other one. But we have the back key here being a dash instead and stuff like that. One thing I haven't mentioned right is the grip sense. I might show something about that in a minute here. But the grip sense is nice, interesting feature. It's not super precise for me personally. I've tweaked them a little bit, so I haven't used them in many games. I have used them in one, the left one, because it doesn't feel as natural to me to just let go of the left one. Like you only have to lift them a little bit. You don't have to do like this, but I like to exaggerate sometimes just to make sure it happens. And using like the left one for reloading, I have tried in one game. It works really nice, was really great. In my Doom Eternal, I kind of use it also to just swap grenade type, and it works reasonably good. But in that configuration, you would need to tweak how they work, and I'm gonna try to showcase that kind of menu for you so you can do that. But grip sense is something that I'm going to explore going forward. They say they did primarily do that so you could just do you move your gyro around, then you lift it, reset, and place it back to kind of ratchet. So this kind of movement. I haven't felt that is better than just feel I have more control when just doing that with the thumb on, like ratcheting with the thumb, lifting it on the right touchpad. Works better for me. So here we have another FPS, and again I can swap weapons. I only have 2 weapons, but it works really nice. We have double jump here. We have a dash. We have like a sprint here, another crouch. We have a crouch, hide. Again, FPS games works really nice on this one. Field. I haven't played this in a few, like maybe a couple of days or maybe a week now, so I need to like familiarize myself a little bit of what the keys are. But yeah. Quite an interesting one. So you can definitely do some nice FPS gaming with this controller. There's just no question about it. And this one actually works quite interesting because, oh, okay, I'm gonna die because I messed those one. Those are insane. I wanted to, so this has a lock on, right? So now when I swap weapon by using the, while we're using the, there we go, the mode shift. Hey guys, can you take a breather? Um, so normally when I press, you can see that it wobbles a little bit, right? A tiny bit of a wobble. It doesn't disturb me, but it is a little bit of a wobble when you press on the touchpad. But since this game has a lock-on feature, do we have any small enemy around that I can showcase? There we go. Since it's locked on, swapping weapon actually is smoother since you can lock on the enemies, which is quite nice, I think. Loady one. I do know that some people don't like the lock-on, but it actually works great with the weapon swapping here. Again, I just wanted to showcase quickly, and a bit of another FPS here. This is like 3 to 4 hours into the game, and it just, yeah, it works really great. I'm having a great time. So I'm sitting here with my elbows on the table here, right? So I'm not getting the optimal kind of gyro experience here. But this is the key point. When I do good gyro, you need something to kind of anchor your arms. I use them, like the elbows on my kind of legs to stabilize it. You don't want to be like 100% in the air. Then you're going to get more a little bit like jitter. So sitting down is probably the best. Take your elbows like anchor them on your legs, like I'm on the table here. Then just very slight movement, right? Gyro is feel best when you do slight small movement. Don't do this, right? This is not gyro. That's going to get you fatigue, kind of strain on you. So try to dial in and play around with maybe a bit higher sensitivity than you think. And use like smoothing. And definitely a good thing is to begin to get used to gyro is to have gyro activate when you like maybe press like aim down sight or something like that on like one of the triggers. But yeah, small movement like you see here, I'm like doing here almost a 180 here with very tiny, like it's not a big movement. Like the biggest movement here is I'm using this one, right? Then I change direction with the pad. Yeah, this is just another FPS. It works great. A great experience. There's no auto aim, and I highly recommend that if you want to try gyro, to find a game that support mixed input. And you use gyro to mouse because by default is going to be gyro to joystick camera, and that is going to, it's not as good. Here you can see I can do very small movement without any problem. Gyro is like picking up all my tiny movement. This would not work with gyro to joystick camera. It would be kind of static and then jump. Static here, still, and then jump. And that's why it just is a more better feeling with this as mouse that you really should try if you want to see how it feels playing around with gyro aiming and gyro tinkering. Yes, indeed. Oh, wait a minute, we can do that. Then you can do that. Oh, that opens the door. All right, we're going to try something different. Maybe some 2D stuff and talk just a little bit of, obviously one of the downsides here is the, at least for Windows, oh my god, well, this is going to be a huge battle arena, so let's do let's talk about another downside of the game, of the Steam controller, and that is obviously going to be with, that's going to be that this does not work on Windows. At least there's no way that I know so far to natively just, I do believe that in Linux you can like do holding like the Steam button or maybe it's this one for like 3 seconds or something, and it will make it into a gamepad, meaning that everything will just see it as a gamepad. It will not work that way on Windows. You pretty much need to run Steam, or there is actually, since there has been, which is really nice to see, there has been more interest in this controller. There is a, you can find them, search them. I don't have the name right now, but there are available applications that you run instead of Steam that makes this just behave like a normal Xbox controller. But primarily, you should get this one, and you should be able to use Steam, or add your games to Steam, launches to Steam. But pretty much this is Steam. This is going to work best with, and for me, it's like 90 plus 95%. It's just no problem at all. And one cool thing is, well, maybe I can showcase something before we do. It. This is. There we go. Okay, so this works in the, I'm gonna talk to you, I don't know if I can show it. So in the beta client of Steam, if I go to setting, I go to controller, if I go to Steam controller pack, it says details, I can press that. And I can then go down to calibration and advanced settings. I can open that. Within that one, you should be able to showcase this. No, like, secret is that, I don't know, do we want to, can I, sorry, can I? I do that? To make sure there's nothing crazy being shown here. Probably nothing, but calibration and advanced setting. There we go. Let me do, I think I can share this. Go. So this is calibration and advanced settings, and you can then go so you can definitely calibrate the gyro. So this is how it looks when it's still flat on my table. I think the gyro here is pretty damn stable after a couple of weeks of usage here. You can also use smooth fine movements if you find them a bit like jerky. And here is also another settings here. So by default, if the Steam controller senses that you are touching the trackpads, the left trackpad, let's say that, it will disable the left joystick. So here you can turn that one off. Like if you want to be able to use both your left touchpad and left joystick on, you just do this, and now it's okay. Another thing that definitely is going to be useful is this one, right? Here it is tweaking, okay, like trying to find a natural position to hold it. So when I'm lifting, like, you see, I don't have to lift it a lot. I've turned the grip sensor range quite a lot here. The default is much higher there, grip sensor range. So this is something you want to tweak to fit you. And again, you can just use your pinky to tweak this, but you need to tweak these settings. I prefer to just lift all my fingers a little bit. And again, I'm probably going to use this for like reloading or something. But sometimes you can see there, it doesn't activate 100% for me. I need to tweak it more. They need to maybe fine-tune it more or something. But that is why I haven't committed it to using grip sense yet. But this is pretty good for me when I turn the grip sensor range down. It activates a lot better. So this is something that you really should try to look in and try. You can also play around with flicker guard. I haven't really done that yet. But this is a great setting for you to look into if you want to use the grip sensors. Here you can see you can also disable all haptic if you don't like it, or all rumble if you don't like that. I don't like rumble, so I disabled that. And you can also tweak how like strong the haptic is going to be. And you also have this one. You can turn the brightness up or down here. So if you want it to be, you know, or turn it off. For me, I think it's nice to have it. I think it works good to have it like 50%. It doesn't bother me, but this is also where you can tweak that. Back. So I'm going to do something which is quite fun to showcase. I am going to close Steam. And I'm going to launch one emulator that natively supports the Steam controller. So this is actually quite fun and very interesting to see that with there is a new way, kind of like a driver thing, that is called STL, I think it's 3, something like that. And this is a PlayStation 3 emulator, RPCS3, version 0.0040 something, I think. Does. And that has updated with this kind of STL3 controller driver, which natively actually supports the Steam controller. So that is kind of cool that we are for emulators that are actively being maintained, and most of them like to use STL. We are going to be able to use our Steam controller without having to worry about Steam input. And again, for me, it's not a problem mostly to add them to like, it's not a problem to add them to Steam, but there are one thing. When we add games to Steam, we lose the native gyro. We can emulate gyro, but we don't get native gyro. And some emulators like Wii U and even the Wii and I think there is motion control in the PS3 emulator and in Switch emulators. When they get updated and they support the STL3 library, we will get native support for gyro and Steam controller functionally directly into the emulator. We will get all the goodness. I think even all the back buttons and stuff like that, which is amazing. I'm gonna try to showcase this. See if I can do that. Oh wait, I'm gonna pause here first. So I'm gonna pause. Do this. I can do ads. There we go. Right, so let me do display capture. So here you can see again RPCS3 here running with native STL support. The Steam controller is natively being recognized as a Steam controller. We can see that in the bottom right there, the stick here. I can tweak the dead zones. I can actually turn the dead zones down because the controller is very good with precise. Oh, that's anti. This one. Turn that one down quite a lot. It is very good here. Very smooth feeling. The joysticks feel really nice. We have the trigger on the left. You can see they work. You get native rumble support. I've turned it off because again, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, everything is just natively working great here. And again, this is why I like emulators, because I saw the Toy Story 3 thing that is going to get remaked. And this is Toy Story 3 on the PlayStation 3 emulator, and it's actually you are able to run this. This is like upscaled to 4K, and I'm running this in 120 frames per second. That is just amazing. This game's run in 30 frames per second by default, but with just emulator here, the RPCS3, you can get 120 frames, maybe even higher, and I don't think there's been any real glitches with that. I haven't done a full let's try. I'm planning on doing that, and beautiful looking game here, very crisp and very nice. There's some flickering on the shadows. That could be due to me running at 120 frames and maybe turn it down to 60 frames. But yeah, so nice being able to crank it higher than the default 30 frames. Native Steam controller support here, working great. It's great because again, emulators that are using STL, they will just natively support this Steam controller, no matter if it is Linux, it is Windows or whatever, right? But maybe we should try like yeah, I'm terrible at this. Let's try some other thing to maybe try the D-pad, just ending by showing this. No. Oh. Let's start Steam here, or maybe we have some native. Would be fun to showcase that, but I haven't fine-tuned that because the trackpad is going to work really nice with third-person action games also, but I haven't tweaked it. But I do have one third-person action game installed. But I don't know how well that game handles like multiple inputs and stuff like that. Do we have just like a very simple 2D game maybe? Showcase quickly. Do I have any other one? Blah, 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 blah. Would be nice if I could find. I guess I can do this. Yeah, I'm gonna add a non-Steam game library, another emulator, just to showcase and try out the D-pad here quickly to end this one. the gaming segment and showcase and talking about what I enjoy and haven't liked as much. Working? Yes, okay. And let me start one good game with the find the D-pad. Haven't tweaked that. I need to tweak this. There we go. Go. Boop, boop. Nearly there. Nearly there. I know I'm not capturing. I will be capturing so you can see really soon. I could have done this, I guess. Sure. Yeah, we're gonna end. So this is another just standard emulator, right? A 2D game here to try to see the D-pad and everything and just see, wow. That's not what I wanted. I'm sorry. Hopefully this doesn't affect you guys. Oh, Jesus, bugged out. I wanted to use a borderless full screen, but I'm gonna have to tweak this later. I don't know why it was using exclusive full screen. That is not what I wanted. So okay, I think I'm just gonna run this in windowed mode. It's fine. There we go. Let me do this and this. Is it working? Yes. Right. So I've added. This is mednafen. Mednafen, I think it is. Emulator for Nintendo and other systems is. I've added this as a non-Steam game to my library, and now it's just it's just working as like a normal game X input gamepad here, and should be okay. Maybe there is something weird going on. Let me do this. Don't want that. Let's just do. Oh, this is weird. They have removed some of the presets. It used to be that you could have a gamepad only mode. I guess they did just decide to just mess everything up. Okay. It seems like this emulator is a little bit being angry at me. I think it is because I have, yeah, okay, it has, yeah, it has, unfortunately, I've used this one with different controllers, so it has lost my, it has lost my default kind of buttons here. There we go. I just remapped it and it should work now. Let's try this again. This is not a Steam controller or anything, it's just me. I've used so many different controllers with this emulator and wasn't, there we go, wasn't mapped to a normal Xbox controller, unfortunately. Let me, there, okay, there we go. Should work now, fine here. The sheet works, I input that. And I want to change the remapping. Okay, that's for another day. Right, so this game is some game that we really need to use the D-pad, and we really need to use the diagonal, there we go. Diagonal kind of aiming here. This is something that the 8BitOS Ultimate 2 controller was struggling a little bit with. But as you can see here, it's working perfectly fine here. And this is the same thing that, you know, for games that basically isn't, you know, native Steam game, this is how you get them to work. Did not want the laser. Yes, we're gonna get the laser, yep. But yeah, the D-pad here is very comfortable position here. I could use my back buttons if I wanted that without any problems. Right, just wanted to quickly showcase that also. Right, so let me just that summarize the thing here. Goes down. So yeah, just quick summarizing here. I do like this one. I don't really think that the size and the position of the right trackpad is as good as the original, but I can work with it. I think the matte finish here looks really nice. It's probably going to be like some people here that think that it isn't as 100% premium, and that's fine. But it doesn't feel cheap to me, the seams and everything. It feels nice. The kind of holes for the screws here, that they doesn't like bother me. I don't even notice that. It feels good, like a nice good size. I like the D-pad again, the buttons feeling, the sticks feels amazing, the pad feels amazing. The kind of clicking down that is now being handled by just a kind of haptic thing. No, it's not a physical click. I think that works amazingly great, much better than on the original one. It is a bit like uncomfortable depending on your size of hand. If you wanna, like, the bumpers, I feel they aren't as, again, the original one was just a tiny bit more comfortable, but it's going to be depending on how you're holding the controller, what you kind of use. But if you are using the both, like the kind of the touchpad, or maybe like me, one touchpad, you are going to be maybe having to stretch a little bit, that is not super comfortable like the original one to hit the bumper. I feel the triggers works perfectly fine. And again, you might also not find the ABXY to be as accessible. It's quite a long reach here actually. It's going to take some time getting that muscle memory and everything down. And also depending on how you're holding it and what kind of fingers that you prefer for back buttons, it might or might not be as great, right? The back buttons work great, but to access all of them, depending on how you're holding it, it might or might not be as comfortable for you. Maybe you will just use the top, or maybe you will just use the bottom of the back buttons. And the grip sense, if you don't tune it, you might get a really wonky experience or amazing experience. And the gyro though feels really nice. I know there's a lot of people like, hey, it's not 1000 hertz, it sucks ass. I don't feel that. I just don't. It's supposed to be 250 hertz internal, and then I don't know what Steam input is. I haven't tried it. Can I try it? Oh, I don't know if I can. But yeah, it's just not a problem for me. It feels really nice, the gyro. Can I feel a difference between the gyro on this one or some otherwise? I cannot really feel the difference. Oh, okay. That works. Okay, I think I can try this one. I can try the polling rate. Right. I reset it. Okay, there we go. Right, I'm gonna show this to you guys. Right, so Logitech G305, 125 Hz. And it is pretty accurate, and I have no problem with this. For mouse gaming and stuff, I don't use that a lot, but it's never been a problem when I sometimes try it out. Right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do... This is a Steam controller, it's in lizard mode. We're gonna do this. We are doing this. You can see here that the Steam controller is 235 Hz. Right? Pretty good. The gyro is not on. But the Steam controller is 250 Hz-ish. And is more than good enough for me. I'm gonna try something else. I wanna see what happens if we start Steam. If that is going to affect the polling rate. The original Steam controller was 125 Hz, just like, you know, my mouse, the Logitech G305 here in eco mode. And I have no problem. I can't really tell a difference here, even though it is bumped to 250 Hz. It still just feels really nice. Let me go in and quickly do... I need to set up the desktop mode. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Desktop layout. Quickly add gyro. Favor gyro to mouse. Trackpad is as much. Right. So we're gonna test what happens with the speed of the gyro, the polling rate, and everything here. So let me do back here. Let me just reset this so you can see this is my mouse I'm using. And now we are going to use this one. We already test this one in lizard mode, the right touchpad. Let's try it in Steam input mode. Right, it's actually a little bit better. It's 298 Hz, 300 Hz, yeah, 332 Hz. That's kind of good, right? I have no problem with that. Now we're gonna try the gyro to see if that is also being pulled as fast. So we do this. It's a reset. Wow, it's 500 Hz gyro. This is kind of cool. I don't know how accurate this test is, but it felt pretty damn accurate. That means that the gyro is actually 500 Hz. Guys, can someone tell me if this is true? Is this accurate? Then that would mean that there was a lot of people that mentioned and said that the 250 Hz gyro is crap, right? That it should have been at least 500 Hz. then they have 500 Hz. Maybe this is just in the beta branch. But yeah, I have no problem. The gyro feels really nice. I haven't side by side tested the gyro from the old to the new one. But this feels like it should be definitely a nice upgrade if you are sensitive. And again, you have the touchpad here with Steam input on. They reach around 300 each kind of polling rate. And then the gyro here hits 500 Hz polling rate. Just really nice. And again, I was using, you can see, we can do this. Hopefully you can read the address here. It is testufo.com/mouse rate. This is like the Blur Busters kind of motion test, their homepage, and they are pretty noticeable for being like a good trusty source for when it comes to testing of like motion response of some things here. So yeah, 500 Hz gyro here. I think this is going to be it. Let's see if we can quickly maybe summarize the here again. Thing here. I didn't mean to test, but it was fun to testing it out. So nice build quality, not going to be like the ultra premium feeling, but this is really nice. I like the matte finish here. Very nice feeling touchpads. They are small, not optimal placement. Buttons, everyone feels really nice. The triggers are, you know, shorter throw range. You don't have any way to like have like trigger stops. That would have been nice. Dual stage triggers are gone. I do miss them a little bit, especially for FPS games. It's great to have ADS on soft pull and then fire on full pull. That is amazing for just quick sniping and stuff like that. But it works great. D-pad is definitely better than the 8-bit Ultimate 2 wireless, so it works really nice. Sticks feels really nice. Again, they are shorter, so that's going to be personal preference, and they are symmetrical here in the middle. That might or might not fit all your hands. If you're just going to use this as a gamepad, you know, it's probably going to be okay, but you're going to miss out of stuff. If you just want a normal dual stick gamepad that is plug and play, I wouldn't go with this one, right? This is if you want to tinker, you want to use the Steam input, if you're curious about, you know, gyro and stuff like that. The gyro is really responsive, it feels nice to use. And again, you have I love the back buttons, but depending on your hand placement stuff, it might not be as great for you. They have a nice clicky feeling to them, but not too clunky. So very happy to this. It's also nice to see that we have the STL3, I think it is version 3, right? That supports Steam controller natively, that meaning that modern emulators that gets updated and use that can natively see the Steam controller. You shouldn't get this Steam controller if you're not primarily using Steam games or games that works great being added as non-Steam games. I wouldn't recommend it then. If you have a lot of games that are on Game Pass and like just other launchers, this might not be the most optimal to be going for. And if you want a plug and play experience, this might not be the best one to go for. But I do think it's very, very fun that this time around we do get more community support. We have lots of more people talking, lots of more tools being made for this one to make it work without Steam running, and again, it's just much more supported. But if you are a true OG Steam controller lover, the biggest thing is probably going to be the ergonomics of using the touchpads, the size of the touchpad, and the placement of the touchpad here, right? But if you just hate everything about touchpad and, you know, maybe you just want a gamepad with symmetrical layout, but you want to maybe mess around with Steam input and gyro and back buttons, yes, this can definitely be a great alternative. Activating gyro on joystick touch is definitely a really good substitute if you just absolutely hate all that is touchpad. But I do like it. I'm going to keep using it. I have put my old OG Steam controller away to really get this one going. And again, there are going to be compromises for me. I cannot use, the full horizontal vertical aiming on the touchpad. It's just not working, only horizontal. I had a problem with using the kind of, the, what is it called, trackball mode, kind of just suddenly flicking the other way. So I'm gonna just try without trackball mode. And I can't use the middle click here in a confident way, so I'm just going to not be able to get 5 inputs on my touchpad. But I do get 2 more extra back buttons. And the dual stage trigger, yes, it's going to be something that I personally miss here and there in FPS games, but overall, it's okay. Definitely a trigger stop would have been the nicest addition, probably for just fast-paced FPS games. And I don't think it's going to be a huge problem accessing the bumpers, but they aren't as well placed. I'm probably going to try to minimize the uses of ABXY because it feels like it's going to be a lot more harder to get that muscle memory building. And again, I very often, the placement here, right? It's not optimal placement for touchpads. I very easily hit the right stick, right? Which is unfortunate. But again, maybe I will get muscle memory built up. But especially if I'm gonna go for fast movement on the right touchpad up to the X button, right? I just very often graces this, and this is touch sensitive. If we could have like a dead zone, so the touch only activates like more in the middle, then I could like maybe have usage of this right stick for menus or weapon wheel or healing up, down, or whatever. Right now it is a little bit in the way, but it might be something I might want to utilize later on. I could always again use it, swap weapon by going down like that, going left. It actually is a little bit easier to hit the right stick than it is to hit the buttons. And you can set with Steam input, you can take ABXY, right? You can put it on A, B, X, Y, and you can, Y, A, B. So that is something I might want to try to play around with here. So it might be more videos coming later on. I'm sure. I apologize for being long. It just took longer time to just get everything out here in the, like, that has been popping up in my mind using this for a couple of weeks here. I hope the polling rate test is though something that's going to be fun and interesting for others to try and maybe elaborate. Was my testing wrong here? Is the testing not working correctly? Because we got 300 without Steam running, without Steam input running, we got around 240-ish on the trackpad, right, in lizard mode. Steam input kicked in, we got like up to like 300, 330 on the touchpad, and then with gyro we got 500 Hz, which, hope that's correct. Thanks for watching. Long, boring, I'm sorry, I'm sure this will get thumbs down. I'm just, I wanted to be just quickly talking experience, showing it a little bit and get it out there. And yes, it is a nice controller, it's not going to be for everyone, but I overall feel happy about it. But it could have been better. So have a great day, bye for this time, and hope you get your Steam controller or already have gotten them, and see you in a future video hopefully. Bye for now.